Homework booklet 94.4, question 1. Got 3x to the 5, y to the 4, all cubed. So, as we've been working with this, I'm going to cube my coefficient. So 3 cubed is 3, 9, 27. Then I've got x to the 5 raised to the power 3, which is then that multiplied. So I've got x to the 15, and then I've got y to the 4 raised to the power 3, which is then multiplied as well, so y to the power 12. This one I'm going to divide my coefficients, so 24 divided by 3 gives me 8. X to the 5 divided by x to the 5 is going to cancel out those. Y to the 4 divided by y to the 4 is going to cancel out those, so it's just going to give me 8. Question 3. This is the difference of two squares. I've got x plus 3, x minus 3. When I expand those out, if I expanded this bracket out, I get x squared plus 3x minus 3x minus 9, and these would cancel out to give that. So that's why that works. 144x squared minus 121. I feel like we had this one last week, but it's 12x, and then because that squared is going to give me 144x squared. So, and this one needs to be, it's the square of 11, so I'm going to need to have plus 11 and 12x minus 11. Again, when that expanded out, it would give you 144x squared plus 132x minus 132x minus 121. So these would cancel themselves out. Right, when x is minus 4, find the value of 80 plus 2x squared. So we need to be really, really careful with this. Substitute in with brackets and just be careful with the negatives. So I've got 80 plus 2 times by minus 4 squared, and then I need to be careful with my negatives and with my BIDMAS. So I'm going to do minus 4 squared first. So minus 4 squared, it gives me plus 16. So I got 80 plus 2 lots of 16. So I got 80 plus 32, so I got 112. Right, question 6. When x is 5, just be very careful again with your BIDMAS and with your substituting in with brackets. 3 times by 5 squared plus 5 times by 5 plus 1. So 5 squared is 25, so I've got 3 times by 25 plus another 5 times 5 is 25 plus another 1. So I've got 75 plus 25 plus 1, which is 101. Question 7. The nth term is 2 times 5 to the n minus 1. Find the third term. So I've got 2 times by 5 to the 3 minus 1. So that's 3 minus 1 up there. So that's the same as 2 times by 5 squared, which is the same as 2 times by 25, which is 50. And then this is just going to be 5 times by 5 to the 2 minus 1, which is the same as 5 times by 5 to the 1, which is the same as 5 times 5, which is 25. Next one. Okay, this one is actually, really a bit tricky to get your head around, so we need to concentrate really carefully here. Now, in GCSE, we're bringing together two elements of the way in which they want you to estimate. And the elements we're bringing together are, one, we're going to round each of those numbers to one significant figure, but then two, we need to do an estimation of a square root, and that's where it gets a bit tricky. So what I've got here is the square root of 80 plus 80, once I've rounded to one significant figure. Take away 30. So what I've got is the square root of 160, take away 30. Now, estimating the square root of 160. What I need to do is I need to think about what square roots do I know close to there to help me to estimate it? So, for example, the square root of 144 would be 12. The square root of 169 would be 13. So the estimate for here is going to be somewhere between 12 and 13. It's a bit crazy because this one is so wildly different, so wildly less accurate than this part. So, I mean, I would say I'd accept anything like 12 or 13 there. 13 is closer, so I might just do 13, take away 30, gives me minus 17. Now, if you came out with anything really between minus 10 and minus 20, anything like that, that would be fine, because it isn't a great question, to be honest, to link those two things together. This one is more like what they would actually produce for a GCSE question. So this would be 0.4 squared times by 100. Now 0.4 times 0.4 would give you 0.16 times 100. And so 0.16 times 100 would then give me just 16. Okay, find the highest common factor of 60 and 130. So, quick prime factor tree, I guess. I don't know, can we just spot it without doing a quick prime factor tree? Probably 15. 15 go in? No. Alright, let's do a prime factor tree. Alright, so we've got 60, and that's 10 times 6, and that's 5 times 2, and 6 is 3 times 2. Those are my factors. So 60 is 2 squared times 3 times by 5. Do the same thing for 130. 13 times by 10. 10 is 5 times by 2. The only ones that I've got 1, 2 and 1, 5 that are shared between them, so the highest common factor there is just 10. Right, next one. Find the lowest common multiple of 14 and 8. So again, you could probably do this just by listing, but let's have a go. Let's just do the prime factor tree. So we've got 14 is 7 times 2. Done. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. Alright, so if I draw myself a Venn diagram, 1, 2 is shared. Then I've got 2 times 2, which is 4, and I've got a 7. So if I multiply all those together, I'll get my lowest common multiple, which is 8 times 7, which is 56. You could get that with listing as well. Right, expand and simplify. X minus 7 squared. It's going to be x minus 7 times by x minus 7. Which is going to give me x squared minus 7x minus 7x plus 49. Which is going to give me x squared minus 14x plus 49. Same deal here, but we've got a coefficient. So 3x plus 7 times by 3x plus 7. Expand that out. So I've got 9x squared plus 21x plus another 21x plus 49, which is going to give me 9x squared plus 42x plus 49. Question 15. Express this in standard form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7.35 times 10 to the minus 5. 4.54 times 10 to the minus 4. So if I go 4.54 and then it's smaller, 1, going to add some zeros in. 2, 3, 4. So it's going to give me 0.000454. Next one, a block has a mass of 780 grams and a volume of 60 centimeters cubed. Calculate the density. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. So in this case, density is equal to 780, my mass divided by my volume 60, which gives me 13 grams per centimeters cubed. Got to get the units right there. A block has a mass of 30 grams and a density of 6 grams. Calculate the volume. So the volume is equal to the mass divided by the density. So here I've got the volume is equal to 30 divided by my density of 6. So it's going to be 5 centimeters cubed. Changing the subject. Make x the subject. First thing I'm going to do is take away a from both sides. I need to get that x squared on its own, so I've got y minus a equals x squared. Next thing to do, take the square root, both sides, y minus a, square root that is equal to x. And make x the subject here. First thing I'm going to do is times both sides by b. Gives me yb equals ax. Now I can divide both sides by a. yb over a equals x. Done.